Hi there, I'm Doireann Mc Dermott and you're watching Dukascopy TV. Well, right now we're going to have a look at general business sentiment in Latin America, what opportunities exist for foreign investment, and of course the future for entrepreneurs. I'm joined by Gustavo Montero and he is a partner at GAM Consulting Group. Welcome today.
Hello Doireann, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So I believe you were in Panama. Now I am very jealous because I've always wanted to go there. So yeah, tell us, I know you were there for a conference. There were 800 people there for a global conference on leadership. Now tell us, what kind of views were expressed there? And of course, I'm kind of dying to know how many women were actually at this conference.
Two questions, the same question, Doireann. Okay, let's go for the first one. Panama, 36 degrees.
Amazing.
50% humidity, fantastic
I'm very
place.
jealous, it's just been
we
rain
did a great
here.
trip on the Panama Canal actually. Well, yes, I was there with entrepreneur organizations, a group of 8,000 entrepreneurs in the world. We were 800 at this conference, Global Leadership Conference. And effectively, there were many people from Latin America because we're in Panama. There were also people from the US and Canada, etc. Out of these 800 people, the majority of the Latin Americans were there, obviously on an incredibly positive mood. The continent is growing at incredible rates. There are incredible opportunities for business. So it was booming, it was fantastic. Women, yeah, there were a whole bunch of them, about 20% I think were women, which it was fantastic for all of us. They bring a different perspective on entrepreneurship. These were only company owners, everybody there, every one of these 800 people own a company, including myself. So it is a really great thing to see so many women entrepreneurs coming to work and discuss with us.
And in general, what is your views on the economic situation and business sentiment in Latin America in comparison to the rest of the world?
Well, Latin America is growing. It's growing quite a bit. It grew in 2012 by over 3%. The estimate for this year is actually 4%. Those are pretty important numbers. Now, if you compare those numbers with growth numbers in Europe, where we're estimating for this year 0.1 or 0 or minus X, and then for next year perhaps a growth of 1%, 1.2%, it is obviously the difference is very, very big. There's a fantastic sentiment in Latin America that there's growth, there's opportunities, and this is going to keep going. Different than other places like in Europe where we live here, where the sentiment is very, very, very different and the numbers are very different.
And let's have a look at some specific countries in Latin America now. Which ones do you think are the most important to address?
All right, Doireann, let's, as you can see in this very big map, Latin America is a huge place. So let's focus on two countries at this point in time, Brazil and Mexico. Why Brazil and Mexico? Brazil is 195 million people, Mexico is 117 million people. Together, these two countries have 50% of the population in Latin America, hence 50% of your market. So in these two countries, the situation is quite positive. In Brazil, particularly, equities are growing in most sectors. There is diminishing concerns about inflation, which is going down. In Mexico, we also have quite substantial growth. A little bit, some other problems associated to the Mexican economy. There's a degree of corruption, etc. But they're very, very strong countries. And just to give you a couple of figures here, which perhaps are interesting, GDP growth for Brazil in 2013, estimate 4%. 2014, 4.5%. In Mexico, 2013, 3%. 2014, 4.1%. As you can see, these are very, very big numbers in terms of growth, and it actually boosts the economy of these two countries. An incredible area to work in.
And in terms of industry areas for foreign investors looking to put their money into some of these countries, what areas and industries should they, seem to be the most appealing?
All right, I just did some analysis. I ran some numbers right before coming here to just give the audience a more specific idea of where to invest, where to look into. If we look into Brazil first, the areas that are really growing very well in Brazil and providing fantastic numbers is banks, exchanges, healthcare, education, industrials, pulp and paper. That's in the case of Brazil. In the case of Mexico, a bit different. Media is growing very much. Everything had to do with media business, cement and construction, Home building, real estate is doing very well. Infrastructure in general is doing well. Financials, banks are doing well. And last but not least, cyclicals, metals and mining, a very important area for Latin America.
And Gustavo, I know SMEs are very, very important to Latin America. But in terms of financing SMEs, what trends are we witnessing?
Yeah, effectively, Doireann, SMEs are generating the growth in Latin America.
Yeah.
That is what's happening there. It's not the large corporations. It's all kinds of SMEs coming up and in every single country and growing quite well. However, this is also the problem in Latin America. The reason is very simple. Financing for SMEs is not good in South America. There are no adequate financial institutions, in general, I'm talking about general terms, to finance SMEs. The rates they have to pay are much larger than the ones paid by large corporations. And this needs to change, actually. Now, there is public interest, governments into this. They're trying to generate new tools for SMEs to be better financed, but in reality it is an issue that needs to be solved, hence an opportunity for every viewer there looking into Latin America right now, particularly if you're in the financial world in North America or in Europe or even in Asia and some other nations. This is an opportunity for those companies to go into Latin America and finance those SMEs. It's a fantastic opportunity for growth for companies, particularly in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, Gustavo, I know you're actually from Chile and you have not mentioned Chile at all. So can you just tell me, your views on the economic and business situation and what type of opportunities, are there at the moment?
Yeah, I'm from Chile, effectively. I've been living in Switzerland for over 20 years, but I am effectively from Chile. Chile, a small country, only 16 million people, 3% of the Latin American population, but doing very well. As a matter of fact, in 2013, the Index for Economic Freedom listed Chile as one of the top 10 countries in the world in that area. Forbes India listed Chile as #1 as the hottest emerging markets countries. So some numbers on that, from 0 to 100, property rights in Chile, 98%. Into trade freedom, 82%. Business freedom, 70%. I have a whole bunch of other numbers here, but just to give you a flavor on that. Now, Chile economy grew by 5.5% last year, and it keeps going at a steady level. It used to grow by 7% a year, but it's still quite high. Booming exports, particularly in the area of mining, even though Chile has quite diversified its economy lately. It's not only depending on mining or in fishing as before, but mining is growing quite a bit. In the next, few years, they're expecting in over $100 billion worth of direct investment in the mining sector in Chile. And this year, 2013, it is expected that Chile will sell over $55 billion in copper alone, among all the other exports. Another perhaps interesting factor is the fact that Standard & Poor's has just provided a Chile rating on bonds of AA-, which is, for your information, equivalent to Japan or China. That's the level Chile is playing at right now. There is a prediction for growth in Chile, quite strong growth, but I think the main reason to look at Chile for the viewers interested in Latin America is a bit of a different one. If you look at the map again, Chile is surrounded by Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Peru. Those countries, including Chile, have over 90 million people in population. This is over 20% of the entire Latin American population. Now, Chile has in that area the best infrastructure in terms of telecommunications, transport, etc. Is a very stable economy, so it's an ideal place for business to set shop and from there tackle all the other countries in the area. That's why Chile is important, I believe.
Thank you very much, Gustavo, for coming into the studio today.
Thank you, Doireann. It's been a pleasure being with you today.
And thank you, viewers, for watching Dukascopy TV. Now, I hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you would like to contact Gustavo, his details are below. Have a great day.